3 years ago, they had the golden trio, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappé. But when it mattered most, they disappeared. Boos echoed in Paris. Superstars left one by one. Paris Saint-Germain was supposed to collapse. But now, with none of those superstars in sight, they've humiliated the mighty Real Madrid 4-0 and look like actual contenders. What changed? How did a team built on chaos suddenly become one of Europe's most feared machines? The answers will shock you. How good is this PSG? Let's start when they had everything. They had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappé, a golden trio that seemed untouchable on paper, but kept losing every single time. Three of the greatest attacking players of our generation played under the same roof in Paris. Yet, something never clicked. Champions League heartbreak after heartbreak, and the weight of expectations turned into chaos behind the scenes. The 2022-23 season was a disaster cloaked in hype. Disjointed gameplay, ego clashes, and questionable tactical identity. While Messi created magic in flashes and Neymar looked sharp before his injury, the entire setup crumbled under pressure. Mbappé remained the most consistent, but even his brilliance couldn't mask the mess. Paris Saint-Germain were humiliated by Bayern in the Champions League. Their midfield was invisible. Their fullbacks looked confused. Their manager looked like he was managing personalities more than a football team. And when it all ended, Messi was booed out, Neymar sold to Saudi Arabia, and Mbappé stood alone at the club's gates, unsure if he even wanted to be there anymore. But sometimes, from ashes comes evolution. This isn't the PSG of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappé anymore. This is something else, something far more dangerous. Luis Enrique took charge, and instead of chasing superstar glamour, he built something lean, disciplined, and hungry. No more individual brilliance masking tactical flaws. Now PSG plays like a unit. They move in sync. They press with purpose. They defend as a team and attack with frightening fluidity. And this change didn't happen overnight. Enrique wasn't afraid to shake things up. He made tough calls, dropping underperformers, rotating frequently, promoting youth, and demanding that every player, regardless of name, earned their spot through system loyalty. Suddenly, the old chaos was replaced by calculated dominance. But what truly changed? What turned this new PSG into a team that can destroy even the best? That's something we're going to uncover later in the video, because the answer lies in one particular switch Enrique made. And it wasn't even about tactics. It was something psychological, something cultural. We'll get there soon. This season's PSG isn't built around one man. No one is carrying this team alone anymore. The midfield trio, Vitinha, Zaire Emery, and Ugarte, might not be household names, but they operate like a machine. Ugarte protects the backline like a shield. Vitinha dictates the rhythm with short, crisp passing. And Zaire Emery? He's the crown jewel. Just 18, but already playing with the confidence of a veteran. He's a box-to-box demon, tireless, intelligent, and fearless in duels. PSG finally looks like a team that understands space, timing, and pressing triggers. And then there's Ousmane Dembélé and Kang-in Lee. Dembélé has been a revelation under Enrique. Chaos, but with control. His dribbling opens up spaces that defenders hate, and while his finishing still needs polish, his presence creates chances out of nowhere. Kang-in Lee brings calmness and clever movement, giving Enrique the balance he always demanded. Randall Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos have rotated as number 9s, offering different options for different opponents. No more rigid dependency on one style. No more praying for Mbappé magic. But here's the craziest part. Luis Enrique's biggest weapon isn't even a player. It's the fluidity, the positional rotation, the inverted fullbacks, the unpredictable transitions. It's the way PSG overloads the midfield, then suddenly stretches the play wide to disorganize backlines. Fullbacks like Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are now intelligent weapons, not just pace merchants. They invert into midfield when needed, offering numerical superiority and controlling tempo. That's how PSG beat Real Madrid 4-0. Yes, you heard that right. Just yesterday. A performance that left Xabi Alonso speechless. Vinicius Jr. was pocketed. Jude Bellingham barely touched the ball. Modric and Valverde were outnumbered and outthought. It wasn't just a win. It was a message, a warning. But what made PSG go from mentally weak to mentally dominant? What broke that choker curse that haunted them for years? That thing I mentioned earlier, the psychological switch. Let's finally talk about it. It was culture. Luis Enrique removed the idea of superstar privilege. Everyone runs, everyone defends, everyone tracks back. No more strolling around after losing possession. No more waiting for one genius moment to save the day. He rebuilt the locker room, turned Mbappé from a soloist into a conductor, replaced fear with belief. And that's when it all changed. You could see it in how they celebrated tackles, not just goals. How the team huddled after conceding. How they played like a family, not a gallery. In the Champions League this season, PSG didn't just win games, they suffocated opponents. The 3-0 win against Borussia Dortmund, a tactical masterclass. They absorbed pressure, then countered with surgical pace. The 2-1 comeback versus Newcastle. Grit, passion, belief. Even the draw away at Milan showcased their maturity. No panic, no collapse. Enrique's side stays calm even under chaos. And in those moments, you realize something. This PSG can actually win the Champions League. Not because of individual moments, but because they finally have a blueprint. And here's another thing you probably didn't expect. PSG now has one of the best defensive records in Europe. Yep, defense. The very thing they were mocked for in the past. Marquinhos looks reborn. Skriniar brings steel and aerial dominance. Donnarumma, while still erratic at times, is commanding his box better than ever. And the high defensive line, risky, sure. But PSG now wins the ball higher up the pitch, forcing mistakes and turning defense into attack within seconds. Their shape adapts constantly. A 4-3-3 out of possession morphs into a 3-2-2-3 in build-up, just like Pep City. And when the transitions hit, it's deadly. It's poetry with venom. There's one more thing we gotta talk about. One more special ingredient, and we'll reveal that in a minute. But just know, it's not tactical, it's not psychological, it's something else. Something that no manager can teach, but every great team needs. Stay tuned. So what is it? Chemistry. Real chemistry. Not handshakes for the camera, not forced celebrations, but the kind of chemistry where players anticipate each other's runs without looking, where the ball flows like instinct, where the team plays with rhythm, not rehearsal. You saw it against Real Madrid. You saw it in every UCL group game. This PSG has found its rhythm, its harmony. Players are no longer restricted by roles. They express, they improvise, but within the structure Enrique built. That's why it works. That's why it's terrifying. This PSG is not the old PSG. It doesn't rely on fantasy. It doesn't collapse when under pressure. It builds, it adapts, it reacts, and most importantly, it believes. Luis Enrique didn't come to Paris to babysit egos. He came to build a legacy. And right now, he might just be doing it. The PSG that once lost with the greatest players ever assembled is now winning with a team that's greater than the sum of its parts. And that should scare everyone. Thank you for watching, ladies and gents. If you love this video, then I'm sure you will love this one too.